Throughout spring, I enjoyed the way we practiced. I was excited about our tempo. That was one thing that we focused on in terms of just spring ball. There's plenty of scheme, and that's important. That's important that we put in the plays and the progression which we teach. But the style of play, how we play the game is more important than what we call, what defenses we run, what offenses plays we call. And then our tempo of practice, how we practice. Like we wanted to establish that. And I thought the guys understand the finish that we want, getting on and off the field, the substitutions, the volume, the communication. So I'm pleased that we laid the groundwork for how we're going to practice in the fall.
Progression from last spring to this spring, just talk about the differences.
I think there's less unknown, for coaches, players, everybody in the building. We all went through the last year as our first year staff. And, a lot of things stayed the same. Some things changed. You go through a year in a calendar, the rules change, recruiting changes, so you've got to change other things with the landscape of football. But fewer unknowns. I mean, there's still the things in recruiting with the portal and the NIL and the revenue share, but overall just the familiarity with each other, the players. And then you've got this group that comes in the portal in December that you've got to acclimate. But everybody knowing what they're doing in the second year is able to help those new guys come in and adjust quicker.
Seems the attitude has been really, really good, at least the practices I've seen.
Yeah, and that's really what I was talking about earlier, just being pleased with the way we're practicing. The tempo, the number of reps that we're getting, everybody's getting practice reps. The development in that manner, that's what I've been really pleased with. But just also, this is a word doesn't use very, but just the spirit of practice. The spirit of practice, the juice, if you want to call it that, in practice has been organic, and I don't want it to be artificial flavors. I want it to be natural, and it's coming out in our guys more and more and more, and we're going to have to continue to grow and cultivate that during the June and July months.
I'd say one of the biggest progressions, Coach always hits it on the head, is like paying attention to the small details, like the little stuff, your technique, not jumping off sides, because we had a big problem with that on both sides of the ball last year. But just our maturity level, especially like converted from last year when we just got a new head coach, everybody's trying to get like dialed in, focus on the small stuff. I say the biggest thing was like maturing. I really like just how much we matured like as a team, like whether it's mentally, physically, especially in the weight room, like we're changing things up. I feel like the defense came a long way, especially tackling, because we needed that. We missed a lot of tackles last year, and the offense just getting more explosive. Especially like with Gio Lopez, like he's an awesome quarterback. He's progressing too. Like I've seen him get better. And Odell Beckham, #1, Devin Voisin. I've just seen a lot of people progress, and like we're focused on the small things. It's going to show this season for sure. We're going to have an awesome year.
How did your game progress this spring?
I feel like I was able to dial in more on pass rushing, like being able to, especially last year when I wasn't able to get a lot of free rushes, and I've been given to a lot during spring ball. So I really enjoy that. I miss pass rushing a lot, so I'm glad I'm able to do that. Being more physical, paying attention on my eyes, like where to place my hands and stuff. Small, super, like minute details that help me out a lot, and I've seen them get a lot better, and it's going to show during the season for sure.
And lastly, Coach talks about the spirit of practice. It's been kind of organic, is what he said. Talk about how you guys are starting to take charge.
I've definitely, or me and the leaders, like we've definitely trying to speak up a lot more, like bring the energy, because some days like you could come out, like last scrimmage it was kind of muggy and like we weren't really feeling it, but when everybody got hyped, like one person makes a play, it has to get like infectious kind of. And everybody will like kind of vicariously get like motivated from that, and everybody gets hyped up. Even if the defense makes a play, like even the offense get hyped, because in the game we're on the same team. So we keep bumping heads like iron sharpens iron, like the Bible says. So that's what we've been doing. Our energy's gotten a lot better ever since. Like that was a main point for us at the beginning of the spring ball.
You can see, just as an offense, we've got progressively better. Guys stepping up. Kentrell, he's been dominating, and then the O-line, obviously, kudos to them because they're the reason all the plays work. And then Gio, he makes plays, right? And so he's grown as a player. Then I feel like in our receiver room, we have a lot of guys that we can count on this year. I think it's one of the deepest groups I've been a part of. So there's a lot of guys we can count on as long as we still stay healthy. But as an offense, I think we've grown tremendously.
And it seems like you guys are comfortable with each other. How big of a factor is that right now?
No, that's good because, you can just feel like I was explaining to somebody yesterday, when me and Gio, sometimes we'll line up and like we'll look at each other and not even have to say anything, but we'll know exactly where I'm going to be and where he's going to put the ball. And I'll let the O-line talk about them with, Kentrell, but you just have that feeling, that we're confident, especially in like 2 minutes, we know we're going to go score. Red zone, we know we have to get it in, so it's just the feeling of, having to get it done.